Alright, so welcome to this other test of the equipment for the unboxing for this time. It's testing for everything actually. Testing the cameras, testing the setup, and testing of course the different tricks I can do without too much editing so that it can go fast enough. So yeah, basically I'm not sure if you see well, this is the result for the YouTube hat that I'm gonna wear when I go out on the vehicle trips and maybe in some interior shots. It allows me to have hands-free while doing my stuff. It's safer for everyone like this, and it's also better for the shots, I hope. Less movement, a little more eyesight of the where I'm looking. Just checking the stream to make sure it's filming all right. Be right back. So I'm not sure at what distance you can see. This is about 1 feet away. I guess I'm a little too high to be seen. Maybe I should put it less at an angle. Maybe you'll see better like this. So I'm going to check again. So really it's just an easy unboxing, not too much stuff received. It's probably something that I've been waiting for a long while now. It's taken a longer time than the other stuff that I've ordered, probably because it was really inexpensive, if it's what I think. There could be two possibilities. It could be something else also that I've ordered a while back. Just resetting the tripod. Troubles with the live stuff is that you can't adjust it before it's actually seen. Won't be long. Alright, hopefully this will be a little stronger. We'll see what happens. So yeah, YouTube camera hat, high definition, to be able to look around without risking too much camera loss. Not sure if you can see it, and not sure if you can hear me good, but that's about it. Alright, so we'll be starting probably in 1 minute when it hits 15. If the rig wants to comply. Alright, let's try this out. This was surprisingly smaller than I expected. Took about 6 weeks, 7 weeks to arrive, compared with the other stuff that took, even from China, sometimes 2 weeks. And the package seems alright, seems very little packaging protection, but that's okay with the, if it's what I expect it to be, unless it's something else. I've ordered a few things that are this size. So, yeah. Okay, so here we go. Those are little iPhone 4S camera. Oh. Okay, here we are. 5 little adapters that will allow me to connect the camera phone to normal USB chargers instead of having the less recent 30-pin adapter. And this was extremely cheap again. Probably I would have had to pay like twice the price or 5 times the price for only one of those here, if they even exist anymore. And that might be why they were a little less expensive to purchase. So I'm not sure if you see it at this distance. So we'll try it out with the hat. And yeah, I've been asked a few questions, more specifically yesterday, about why I do certain things, because of course this is practice, this is not professional reviews, it's just for me practicing for someone that said that wanted to start YouTubing because the rest was less less interesting or less reputable than doing something like this. So I've started testing it out and seeing what were the options, different possibilities without costing too much. Yeah, so basically that's why I'm doing this. I'm not pretending to be perfect. I'm not pretending to have a fantastic unboxing. It's just a stream to pass time for those who have time to waste or time to wait for something better in life. So you can watch these. I've got different playlists that are made, and which allow you to decide if you prefer seeing unboxings like these, or if you prefer going outside like in the vehicle playlists, or if you prefer seeing inside of different buildings or different restaurants, which are the headroom, because they are mostly aiming at my head while I'm eating. So you have 3 options, and the fourth, of course, is watching all the videos, so you can just relax, look at them. Sometimes going to be unboxings, basics stuff. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes you can see mistakes and fix them if you sorry, I'm having a sore throat this morning. If you are having a channel that you want to do yourself, you're going to see the different possibilities and things that might interest you or interest you less. to try. Like for instance, this was my previous tiny camera, which I was going to use for the latest field trips with the vehicles, and sadly they are a little heavy because they have a screen, they have a battery, and they have everything, so they are harder to use as a secondary camera that I want to try for outside vehicle testing. But like you can maybe see in the mirror, or like here, this one was my idea of a hands-free camera instead of having a shoulder camera, which causes vibration when you move your body more, because your shoulders are always in motion when you exercise, and I'm trying something that will work in exercising and not move as much. And I'm guessing that the head is the part that you've got the least moving, because the eyes are there, so they would be specifically better for using a camera like this one. I'm not sure if you see the camera in the mirror, but that's the idea of this, and it's quite solid because I've added, like if you looked at the last week's unboxing, which is a small bumper, aluminium bumper that I've ordered, very cheap also, came faster than these adapters, and yet it was ordered like 2 weeks after, and it allows a secure hold on the hat. And I had to tweak a little bit because the angle was difficult to add. Ideally I would purchase some sort of a preset rig in plastic that you can aim better, but doing that would probably raise the price to almost the price of the iPhone, so that's not the goal here. The goal here is to start something small, and eventually if things work out well and people are interested, and you know there's more content coming out for that, at that moment we can invest more into better rigs. Same thing for everyone, I guess, that they start small. Differences, sometimes other people have other means of income, which the income I have is something I have set aside to avoid or not be on governmental help or things like that. So it's really my take on life, which is save a lot and have more fun after, according to what you want. I've tried a lot of things before, and I know what I find are important in life and other things which are not. So that's why I do simpler things in life which bring happiness, instead of doing big things that are, you know, maybe very fun for a few times, but you can't always do that, and most people tend to have a hard time after that because they can't do it all the time. So I'm preaching more in a balanced way. You buy small stuff like this, you pay cheap, you're happy it works, or it doesn't work, so you have to adjust your next actions. So that's why I'm going towards having better options with less cost than spending or wasting a lot, like going on trips in other countries, like big streamers do at the moment. They pay a lot, they basically stream the same thing they would stream here, and you know, it's not often very interesting to see more in other countries than inside where you are. So I believe there's always content you can find in and around where you are. You just need to look and think about stuff that you like, and you try it and you do it and you offer it to other people. If they don't want it, it's their choice. They don't have to listen, they don't have to watch. If they don't, they can just watch if they don't want to listen, or they can just listen if they don't want to watch. So basically it's there's a lot of possibilities with everything. You just need to open your mind and be happy about the small things in life, not the big stuff. You don't need to be happy all the time. You can just relax, plan, think, draw. Even if you're not a good person to draw, if you don't know how to draw perfectly, you can still have fun drawing things. And even for planning later on, that's great. You can draw cars or draw trucks or vans or things like that. Even if it's not realistic looking, it's still useful, because my belief is that even in ancient Egyptian, the pictures and drawings you see were not meant to look at, they were meant to inform you of things, which is what we lost in more recent era, which we do a lot of art not for information, but mainly just for looking, which I find personally I prefer a lot more going to see a drawing of something useful than seeing a real life painting of something you could see in a picture, in a photograph. Because we've got photography now, you can easily take a picture of what you want to show people instead of drawing it or instead of painting it. So that's my take on it. Of course, if you paint in the idea of relaxing or passing time, things like that, you can do that. I'm not, I've got so many tech stuff to do and so many planning to do that I like, and so many budgeting that I like to do also, finding bargains instead of buying the first thing you see in store and paying a big price and you can't buy anything else if it's not what you needed. That's my philosophy. So basically I am trying to answer the questions I've had recently. So that's pretty much what it is. The last things I've done pretty much for the last few days were prepare the head cam, which I've got here. And like I said, it's a cheap hat. Of course, I've had some comments about the hat not being a super fantastic hat. Of course not. That's not the point. I purchased it to make better videos. Hopefully it's going to be fun to watch. And the rigs that I've purchased, also I've been asked why I did unboxings of stuff that are less expensive than other people. That's mostly because it's for testing out stuff and showing people that it's possible to do a lot of things even if you're not super rich, or if you're not super equipped at home. You can often just get a few stuff around the house and prepare everything out. So just putting a little more safety here. So yeah, once you know exactly what you like and you see there's an advantage in having new stuff or more expensive stuff, you can always do that, unless you're really sure at the beginning. But at the moment, I'm doing this for a friend or somebody I like a lot. At the moment, I've got a call or a message. Just watching here. Yeah, so basically I'm doing this for somebody I really care about and that I want to help out, and I want to show her that it's possible to do. You don't have to do one thing and it's not that complicated. I admit I'm doing the more complicated stuff, which is setting it up, showing it off, because I don't really have as much content or as much visual appeal. Most of the time women are more interesting to watch talk, so that's why I'm trying mostly to show outside things and sightseeing, maybe vehicle driving or going to events eventually. That's what I'm gonna do. Just looking at what I've received in case it's a message regarding the. Okay, I don't know who that person is. Kazira Pere Genere. So I'll just wait for that message later and see what they want. So that was the chime that you heard. It was my cell phone watch that I've got on the side of the window because the signal doesn't come in as far as a normal phone. Okay, so I'm just going to try out the little devices to see if they charge the phone properly. And I'll do the test with you. You've got a choice if you want to watch other videos on the playlist. You also have the possibility to subscribe if you want to watch maybe better stuff eventually with the better cameras. Hopefully that's going to be the case soon. I'm just waiting for a few other devices that might be helpful. Not sure how you can see the charging the best. I'm going to look at the stream and see if that works. I'll be right back. So I'll try with the battery pack I've got here. I'm gonna connect the YouTube hat and see if I can just use a normal adapter. Just use a USB adapter instead of using the 30-pin one. It's difficult to insert. Okay, it was on the wrong side. So this is the normal adapter cable that I've got. We'll set this aside and we'll take a normal USB cable that we can charge. Okay, so this is the cable I'm going to use to test the unboxed adapters. Okay, it did fit in, it just was a little less smooth than usually. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, it's probably a little hard to see. So, charging. I'm going to set the contrast a little higher so that we can see easily. We'll see easily if it starts. Okay, yeah, that should be better. And I think I've got a battery display somewhere. Battery. Okay. So we'll just check the screen when it lights up. Okay, so the first one works well. Let's go. You always have to try out things pretty rapidly because sometimes they send you limited amounts of good products. Like this one is weird. I'm hearing crackling, which is not supposed to be happening. I think it's damaging my cable. Oh, no. This one seems to be not working. So out of the 5 I've received, 1 dud. At the moment, this one's inserted very easily. Okay, I'm gonna put it on sleep. See if it turns on while we insert it. It doesn't seem to work. So that's probably a second dud. Or the cable has been damaged. I'm gonna have to try a new cable if it doesn't work. Yeah, that's not starting. I'll try a new cable. So yeah, the micro USB cables are a little less great than I thought. I thought they were very protected the way they were built, but as we've seen right now, since I've tested it on a one defective adapter, it got damaged, so they are not that safe. I thought they were safer. Okay, so the original one worked well. I'm gonna try this one again, but this time I'm gonna connect it on the fragile side of USB first. Okay, this seems better. And if I connect it to the battery, and then we check out if it works. Okay, so as we see, this one is a second out of 5 that works. Three out of 5, and we'll finish with the other at the end. That seems defective. This is the 4th out of 5. And that works also. So basically what I'll probably do, since they are a bit fragile, I'll aim to leave them connected on their main wire, so they don't have, so basically instead of buying 5 cables at $10 each, I've got 4 cables at about $1 for 4 cables, because most of the time USB, oh see, even this one is working, so maybe I was a bit too quick with the other USB cable, so that means micro USB cables are not as safe as I thought. You have to be very careful, especially when you use maybe a little less standard connectors. And yeah, so basically this is the YouTube hat camera that I've made. The bumper, I don't know if you see it here. It's around here, so it holds the phone at a proper place on the hat. And we've got a little hanger wire that I've set with a string, so that the string can go under the frame, the bumper they call it. They call that a bumper, so that it has the angle and it's rather solid when I'll move on the vehicle stream. Well, either I wish it would be more live streaming, but like I said, you know what, but anyway, seemingly it's different now than it was at the time. They're not doing it, even if it's been a year that they said they would. Doesn't seem like it's even been tried yet, so yeah, I'm still trying this. So this is the next step, is a head cam. Of course, there's a lot of many other ideas that I've got now that I've tried this, which are probably better, different. This is my version because I wanted to have an iPhone that would have good quality picture and eventually serve as a phone also. And since it's a piece of collection, maybe because it's the last phone that Steve Jobs supervised, it made me happy to try it out. I had never tried iPhones before. Now I know how they work a little more. I see how the icons are better, in my view, than Android. A lot of stuff better than Android, especially for a phone that is not as recent as the Android devices, which works pretty good for its year, and still has a lot of applications that work. They have less applications for iPhones, but they've got applications that work and that are better also in the end. So that's pretty interesting to consider when you want to purchase a phone. Do you prefer something that's going to last long or something that won't be too long? Of course, if you prefer something that you're going to have the latest version for the lowest price, iPhones are probably not the best choice. But if you want a device that lasts a long time if you don't plan on changing it too often, because you prefer not having to relearn different applications, different OS, different versions of setups. Then an iPhone might be a good solution, especially if you go on second-hand versions like this. You pay a lot cheaper than original price. You usually get better than the newest Android phones. If you compare the price of a used iPhone and the price of a new Android, you're gonna probably have a better value with the iPhones from what I've tested up to now. Of course, if you want to buy a new device, you're gonna have a less expensive device in Android's device. Or next step is probably to try a Windows phone to see if the OS is, because I've heard and I believe that Windows iOSs are closer to the iOS I was planning when I was a little kid at about 8 years old. Except I didn't know phones would exist. I was planning for a computer. Basically, it's pretty much what the phones use right now to make it easier for computer use. And I believe that's probably gonna happen soon, that you're gonna have a choice of using the same basic OS on normal full-fledged computers, because you get more power and it's a lot less demanding on storage to have such a preset iOS. So hopefully we'll see that soon, and I'm gonna be able to say if it's what I had planned. This is close, but I believe Windows Phone iOS is closer to what I've had planned. Of course, we know that it's less popular right now. Probably from a long run, I would say that the iPhone is my favorite for now, and the Androids are pretty good also. So it really depends on what you plan. If you plan to pay for new, I'll probably go for an Android phone. If you plan to buy something for the iOS, then go for a used iPhone, or maybe a used Windows device. We'll see how it goes. So at the moment, I think it's pretty much the questions I was asked. Again, if people wonder why I do the things I do, it's because I believe in the long run and in the unseen events following my choices, there's always something good and better that comes out of it in the long run. I'm always somebody who plans for things, to last as long as possible. For instance, health. I'm aiming more at long health than short health and great fun. I prefer having a good fun and longer health. That's my choice personally. That's what I've come to experience in life from the very first days. At first, people were criticizing me, and now most people that I know are understanding what I meant at the time. But I was only a kid at the time, so it was harder to have confidence in sharing it. Now I share it. Of course, people think I'm being obnoxious, but that's not the case at all. You can choose to not do it. It's your choice. But I'm just feeling that it's important to me to express my views on certain things, so that you have a choice. You don't feel alone in doing the better choice that I think. If you really think it's a bad choice, you can do the other stuff. Just try to notice if it's not that great. For instance, patience has always been a value that people throughout the ages promoted. Nowadays, it's less promoted. People tend to want to do stuff or eat stuff right away, quickly, and not thinking about what produce go inside of each meal, for instance. But it's, I believe, better to get informed, take the time. Of course, you have less time to vegetate around when you do that. I mean, some people prefer relaxing all the time, having nothing to do the next day. I prefer looking for instance, information on foods, looking for information on devices, looking for information on ancient history. Those are all things that I do instead of, for instance, watching live streamers' lives all the time. I absolutely don't warrant that, especially not the kind of content they bring most of the time, but the vehicle content that they bring I find interesting, so that when that plays, I do follow them a little more along. There are some streams that I'm thinking about, that I've thought about before, but I hadn't tried them out yet. Somebody else tried it somewhat before me. Of course, I would have chosen a different kind of animal, but that was their choice. We'll see how it goes. Especially, we'll see if they last, because from what I understand, first off, I don't think they can remain that way for a long time. For instance, I'm not sure that they've planned their allowed time at a place too much. That's probably why I think it's probably not their place. It's probably somebody else's place that they use. We'll see. And also the end result that they are doing, in the way they say it's because they're so wonderful, but in fact I believe it's for other purposes, probably selfish by themselves. So we'll see. At the moment it doesn't seem too bad. It seems planned out well, but again, it's really if you have nothing to do and nothing important right away, and try to avoid doing that too much. If that's what you want in life, you want to have things super exciting one time, then you have no more resources to do something more after, and you have to watch streams that are really extremely time passing and not really changing. You can do that also. That's why I'm starting this. I never would have thought that there was a lot of people that had so much time, but of course it's basing on myself. I got time and I do a lot of research with it. That's mostly what I do. So that's my philosophy. Of course, it's perfect to be with somebody else that does the opposite, because that way you have one person that plans and the other person that maybe decorates. So just a hint. But of course, again, that's all things that I see. I think because of my my health and lifestyle choices. So I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm saying that I'm probably equal in different areas. So I'm better in different areas that other people are better in different, and that makes a perfect way to have a unity of different people together that have different choices in life. For instance, like I said, some people prefer decorating, other people prefer planning. So you have one person that does the planning, the other person that does the decoration, and that, I believe, makes a balance. That's the way you balance things out, instead of trying to do everything or trying to blame somebody for trying to do everything. You do your part and you let somebody else do his part, and hopefully that brings harmony and happiness in your life with the other person in the long term. So that's pretty much how I feel and act. The other questions that I've had were why, for instance, I'm more serious and less fun or less funny. Usually that's what I do. I start with the serious stuff, and once that is working and that's promising on the long term, then I go into fun mode. But before that, I aim 80% to be serious on stuff, to make those work out. And then once they work out pretty good, then I go in 80% funny and 20% seriousness. So that's for the questions that I've been asked lately. So all right, I hope you have found something interesting in this live stream. I'm probably going to try to edit it so it's not too long for second-hand viewing. If you have any questions, any comments, any thing that you want to see around Montreal or around maybe other countries eventually, don't hesitate to leave the comments and subscribe if you want to keep informed. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See you next time.